Hey friends, it's Laura with Laura B. Floss Tube. Welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me today. So I have a quick vintage linen project for you today. You may remember that I used some vintage tea towels and made a quilt top out of them. And it's a super cute and it's going to definitely be loved and used as a quilt. But I had a lot of tea towel fabric left over. Rather than just tossing that in the trash, I thought, I should do something with this. So today I'm just going to show you how to add a fabric edge to some tea towels and you can have a super cute and custom kitchen. Let's talk supplies. You're going to need some tea towel fabric, some cute fabric cut into 2.5-inch strips. You could use a jelly roll for this if you have one laying around. You need a bias tape maker, the biggest you can find. They actually do have some of these made for 2.5-inch strips. This one is made for like a 2.25-inch strip, but I make it work and I'll show you how. You're also going to need an iron, maybe some spray starch, a sewing machine, a rotary cutter if you need to cut your strips, and thread. After you have your 2.5-inch wide strips and your bias tape maker, head on over to your ironing board and make yourself some bias tape. Then you're also going to want to fold it in half. So let me show you how I'm getting that done. The first thing we're going to do is cut this at an angle. So it's a point on one end. This is going to be so much easier to thread through your bias tape maker. So you can use a great big straight pin, or you can use a stylus, or you can just use your seam ripper. You're going to want to thread this through into your bias tape maker. And mine, it has a little slot here, so it's a little easier for me to get it out. And then you're just going to pull that tip right out of here. I'm going to lay this on my ironing board and show you how to get this into a bias tape strip. I like ironing my bias tape on the top side. That way I know that there aren't any little creases or anything in here that sometimes happen. But you do want to make sure you kind of check along the way to make sure nothing's getting twisted, make sure everything is feeding through correctly. Now, this is some pretty lightweight cotton that I'm using. If you're using a heavier weight fabric, you might have some problems getting this through the bias tape maker. Because like I said, this is actually supposed to be cut at like 2.25 to even 2 inches. And I have mine cut at 2.5. But it's going to work perfectly fine as long as you're using a lighter weight cotton. Now, the other thing you want to check is just make sure that these are not completely overlapping, but just touching in the middle. If you're having problems with your iron, get a nice crisp edges, use some spray starch. I like Best Press. That's usually what I use. And then you just go right along here. And it's really that quick and easy to make this bias tape. If you haven't used these for sewing projects, oh my goodness. These are like the best thing ever. Clover definitely has a really good line of bias tape makers on the market. You can get them on Amazon from other companies as well. Before we head to the sewing machine, we want to make sure we go and check on the other side of this, make sure everything is nice and flat, nothing's curved under, and I do have a little curving, so I'm going to fix that real quick. And then we're also going to go ahead and press this in half. Once that's nice and flat, we're just going to flip over this edge and look at meet the other. I don't necessarily need it to stay flat like that. I just need it to know where that fold line is. Now let's head over to the sewing machine. All right, we're going to find the edge that we raw cut on the tea towel, and we're going to wash the seams. And wherever the seam is folded to, that is the back side of the towel. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to just open up our bias tape, and we're going to put the right side to the right side. We're just going to run a seam right down, 1/4-inch seam, right down along the edge of this. All right, so from this edge, we're gonna cut off probably about 1/2 inch from the edge. So we have another 1/2 inch of our bias tape. Now this is going to fold over and fold around the tea towel like so. We're gonna flip it to the front just so we can kind of see it a little better. And we are gonna use some pins here. So you want to unfold this edge and then fold this edge in. Kind of finger press that a little bit. Fold this edge back up. And then you're going to fold it back up onto that center fold line. And meet right up there with the other edge of the bias tape. And we're going to pin this in place just to hold it. Now we're just going to go along the edge and put in a few pins just to hold it in place. And you want to kind of feel and make sure that it is matching up with the other side. Doesn't have to be perfect. I doubt anyone is going to check. This would be a great way to customize your kitchen. You can whip up some curtains and some tea towels. This will also be a great wedding gift or a housewarming gift. Okay, we're just going to do this in the same. Flip that in. Fold this down. Then fold it back up to meet. We're going to put a pin in here too to hold it. All right, so now I'm just going to use my presser foot as the guide. I am going to back stitch on this end of the tea towel. It is pretty thick there at the beginning, so just kind of go slow and be nice. Like I said, I'm just using the edge of my presser foot as kind of a guide for where my seam is going to be all the way along here. Back stitch at the end, and that's all there is to it. Now we have this really pretty edge tea towel. I'm probably going to take this back over to the ironing board and give it a good press, but that is it. There you have it, friends. Just some really pretty fabric edge tea towels to use in your kitchen or to gift to a friend. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I hope you found some inspiration, some tips and tricks along the way, and I really appreciate if you would like this video, if you like the project. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share it out to your friends. And until next time, happy stitching.